You are what you eat. And if you really, really believe and own the fact that you want to be healthy, you will make healthy decisions.
Hi, and welcome to Common Denominator. I'm Moshe Popak, and today we speak with Sharone Hakman. Sharone is a culinary innovator, entrepreneur, and charismatic TV personality, renowned for his unique ability to blend bold flavors with clean, high-quality ingredients. He first captured the hearts of viewers on the hit competition show Masterchef, where his passion and creativity set him apart. He's here to talk about how to make healthy eating delicious.
I would challenge anyone who's trying to make a conscious decision around eating better or removing things from their diet is to build a habit around it. Commit to yourself and then see what happens. Choose your heart. It's hard to be unhealthy. It's hard to stay healthy.
Hi, Sharone, and welcome to Common Denominator. It's a funny journey because I think that I can understand it, but starting from before as a financial advisor and then becoming a master chef, tell me about that transition.
I'm a dad now, and I'm in the food world. And many times I have these flashbacks of asking myself today, if looking back and the decision I made to make that shift and change, would I have done it and what was I thinking? Right? Many times does that idea come into my mind. And I'm like, whoa, you were just out of your mind. You're crazy, right? But what I will say and what sits in me and I feel very deeply is that when you know something isn't right, you feel it in your bones. It's a gut feeling. It's something that's there and you got to listen to it. And that's what it felt like. You know, I felt like this wasn't my path. This wasn't my direction. Felt very real to me. Felt very like I felt it to the core of myself. And I think, you know, listening to that is what catapulted me and pushed me in the direction of a new chapter, a new career, a new journey.
When you were growing up, were you very passionate about food?
It's funny. You've got a very Jewish name. And so I'm going to assume that you have very similar cultural background and roots that I do. Were you very close with your grandma?
Of course. But Ashkenaz, which is basically Eastern European. You look more Spain and Morocco, but right?
Ashkenazi.
But I also look Spain and Morocco, but I'm also Eastern
you
European.
lived in Miami for 18 years. So
that's right. That's right.
No, I'm Ashkenazi too. My grandparents are Holocaust survivors. My grandmother and grandfather moved to Israel just after the war from Poland. But my grandmother's a really big part of my life. And I've shared this story many times. And she was my best friend. She raised me. She was just a huge part of my life. And she was everything in the kitchen was from scratch. She was always cooking. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? So food is a really big part of my life. My culture, our tradition, Shabbat dinner, getting together with the family every Friday around a table full of food and spending time together. I mean, like food is really what helped. You know, I just think it brings families together. Every family, whether you're Jewish, Catholic, or whatever part of the world you're from, oftentimes like family dinners are such a tradition and such beautiful memories for people growing up, especially.
How do you make that happen more? I'm finding, right? So I have at our Friday night dinners, an array of people, some from all backgrounds, and what they say is they don't get that so often. We have it in the Jewish culture, but we don't get to sit around and break bread so often in general with family and friends. Where how do we make that more and more part of people's lives?
That's a great question. I struggle with that myself as well. I think we live in a time today that things just get faster and faster, right? Everything. Even just look at media and social media and content, right? Like everything's just getting faster and faster, from long reels to shorter reels to now TikTok reels. Like it's like boom, boom, boom. Like I'm watching my kids watch memes and videos are like 8 seconds, right? Everything's faster, communication, all of it. I think we have to challenge ourselves to slow it down. that, to me, slowing it down allows us to really start appreciating things a little bit more. And it's a discipline, right? It's a discipline. It's a commitment that you need to make to yourself. It's a commitment that you need to make to your family. I'm challenged with it as well. And it's a discipline. I've got to say, hey, all right, tonight, like, we're slowing it down. No phones. We have a rule, no phones on the table, things like that. Just finding little ways to slow things down, I think is really helpful. Because our grandparents didn't have that struggle, right? Our grandparents, or even our parents, they didn't have their phones on them all the time. They were able to really enjoy the moment. And there's such beauty in enjoying the moment. I struggle with it too. Again, I said, so trying to find the discipline and the way to slow things down, removing yourself, disconnecting to connect.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. I think that, how much of emotion is in food, right? So it's like, it could be a positive emotion, right? People can emotionally be eating, or they can be intentionally eating, right? But they could be eating healthy. How can people switch? Because I know, right, it could be, I see that a lot, right? So when it comes to food, you can either be aware and intentional, or you can be disciplined. How can someone make that shift and be in a more healthy space in relation to food?
Great question. It's really tough living in the US and making that conscious decision. Because when you look around, the majority of things that are easily available to you, right, are generally not good for you. Fast food, go to the grocery store, all the affordable, cheaper things are generally processed, loaded with junk, don't have stuff in there. So, we don't make it easy. When I say we, our country doesn't make it easy for us to eat healthy. And I think that's why we have such an epidemic with obesity and diabetes, right? And everyone wants this quick fix, like take medication, right? Like, versus looking at the root cause, like, why am I unhealthy? And generally it's like, you are what you eat, right? I mean, we've heard this saying before. It's nothing new. I haven't revolutionized this. You are what you eat. But if you really sit with that and own it and understand that you really are what you eat, you are what you eat. So if I'm eating a bag of Cheetos, I'm Cheetos. Like, I'm going to look like, it just is what it is. And I think it just comes down to, again, being truthful with yourself of what do you really want? And if you really, really believe and own the fact that you want to be healthy, you will make healthy decisions. You will make good decisions, but you have to really believe that. I think the power of manifestation is pretty real and powerful. Like, if you really believe and you really commit to saying, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy. Every day, when you decide to put food in your mouth and you repeat that in your mouth, you repeat that in your mind, you're looking at the food, you're going to ask yourself, no, I'm actually not going to eat that. I'm going to put that away. That doesn't speak to me. I know it sounds far-fetched, but I mean, it really helps me. It's something that's actually a very powerful tool that has helped me stay healthy and make right choices throughout my life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll close with, I'll have a slice of pizza with my boys. We're going to go have a burger. Like, I'm going to go enjoy myself, right? Like, I'm not sitting here saying I'm eating salmon and broccoli every single day, but I am saying generally, for the most part, every day, I make good decisions. And that allows me to make some bad decisions here and there, because life is also short and fun, right? Like, I'm not going to starve myself with things that are, simple pleasures and an ice cream here or something like that.
I think of people don't realize, and now with the MAHA movement, right, Make America Healthy Again, and RFK Jr., there's a big, at least mainstream awareness, but people don't realize that it's really, I think it's about 5 or 6 major food companies in the U.S. You talk about U.S. food, the food that's in front of us, and they're slowly influencing us through different marketing tools. So we don't realize our programming, and we think that it's a normal thing to have this, they call it regular size Big Gulp, but it's like that, right? How that's regular, and I think it's almost 60% of American adults, hypertension, diabetes. So that's chronic illness, and that's not a healthy way to be living. So it is, and I also know that sugar is the hardest thing to kick.
Oh yeah.
What are
More addictive than cocaine.
That's right. So let's talk about practical tools. Like what do you really do? Right? You're talking about it's addiction, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's addiction.
Yeah.
So do you have to go through like AA, like food, like is it literally like that? Because I think of it that way sometimes, right? Like, right, you see this sugary thing and you're like literally fighting in your mind.
I want it. Give me some, right?
Right.
It's wild. I'll start with one thing. Because what you said earlier, when you opened up, was really, really real to me. I connect with it deeply because I'm in the food space, right? I'm a food manufacturer. I'm a food brand, right, Moshe? And so when you think about all these big companies, like they're not really, they're concerned with one word. You know what that one word is? Consumption. That's
the business. Yeah.
It's a business. Consumption, consumption, consumption. The more you consume, the more profit I make, the more sales I get. And if you find some connections between a lot of these big CPG companies, between those crappy foods that you eat, and they're also somehow connected to a lot of the treatments that you take after, you're sick. You're consuming. They're catching you on a consumption train throughout your entire life cycle. And that's what they want to do, right? They don't want to educate you to make the right choices so you don't have to take medication, so you can, live a longer life, the healthier life, and so on, right? So that's just one thing I wanted to say, consumption. So now how do we break that, right? There's a reason why salty and sugar is addictive, right? And we want a bag of chips, that texture, that bite, the salt, you want more. Gummy bears, chocolate, all those things. You want more because they have addictive character. Like they're addictive. That's it. Bottom line. And
like smoking cigarettes, like anything. Yeah.
That's exactly right. They're addictive, right? A book I read a long time ago. It was a really interesting and very, very powerful thing that I adopted and I tested. I pressure tested this. It was, to form or break any habit takes 21 days. And I was really intrigued by that. And I was like, okay, wait, really? 21 days? That's what it is? This is some math, some crazy, psychologists work on this. Like, this is a lot of data, a lot of studies, a lot of research behind this. But supposedly it takes 21 days to break or start any habit. Something happens in your brain. So I said, all right. I had a triathlon that I was training for, right before COVID or something like that, right? Ballpark. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to really get in the best shape ever for this thing. I'm going to crush this. And sugar, I have a sweet tooth, right? I have a sweet tooth. I'll own it. I love sweets. And I don't have a limit when it comes to it. Like, some people have a bite of something and be like, oh, I'm good. I'll look at them like they're crazy. I'll eat the whole cheesecake, And I was like, I'm going to give it 21 days of no sugar. My first day, okay. Second day, all right. Third day, I'm like, whoa, I'm craving this. I'm crashing. Like, I'm looking at it like a cup of coffee. Fourth day, fifth day, same thing. Something magical starts happening after the first week. You're like, oh, I'm not interested. And then second week, you look at it, you're like, less interested. Truly, by the 21st day, I remember going out to dinners and stuff, and there was desserts in front of me, and I'm like, I had no interest in it. Zero. Yeah. So, to answer your question, I would challenge anyone who's trying to make a conscious decision around eating better or removing things from their diet is to build a habit around it and give themselves, commit to yourself. Say, I'm going to commit to myself 21 days and then see what happens.
I know a lot of people talk about working also in the food industry, and you kind of, in the beginning of the show, talked about it. How difficult is it to work in the food space?
Very, very. Everything food's difficult. So I'm not in restaurants, right? I'm a food brand. I'm in food manufacturing. So I manufacture organic, better for you foods that I sell, and with great partners across the country. partners like Whole Foods and Costco and so on. We've got a new line of frozen products that are coming out to market that are just made with avocado oil and clean seasonings. So something, again, very easy meal solutions. It is very difficult to compete in this category. To your point, and what we opened up with is a lot of these big CPG brands, a lot of these big companies have done such an amazing job of selling us crap. And when you sell us crap, right, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money, right, to sell us crap, to make, artificial this, process that. It's cheaper. So when you're talking about bringing whole foods into people's diets, into the grocery store, in convenient packaged ways, when I'm competing with brands that are like 99 cents, $1, like buy one, get one, right? Like you look at the ingredient deck and it's like this long relative to what it should be, which should just be like 5 or 6 different things, right? Each ingredient has 40 sub-ingredients in there. It's really difficult to compete in their motion. It's really difficult because they've spent 50 plus, 80 plus years training us to buy these, products and to spend this amount of money for these products.
So from a business perspective, being in 12,000 stores, I mean, that is to get shelf space in those stores. What was that like to be able, because I can imagine how competitive it is, to your point. That must have been lots and lots of no's and insanity.
Tons. You nailed it.
Yeah. You
literally just answered my question, like the question for me. It's just, it's nuts. Yeah. I look at it every day and it's you have to be insanely passionate to the point of craziness about what you do in this space to want to win and succeed in it for the cause that I'm in, right? I don't make products that I won't put on my own kids' table, on my own family's table. It's a very simple and also very difficult thing to do, right? In scale. It makes answers to the questions that I have very easy, but it makes the journey very difficult. And so, it's, you've got to love this. I love this. I love food. I love what we're doing. I love what we're doing, why we're doing it. I love the idea of also bringing sustainability to the forefront, working with my suppliers on how they grow their practices and so on. Something that's, I think, forgotten that I take back to my grandparents is, my grandparents I always felt like they had this, even though they didn't say it, they had this belief and this energy about making sure that we thrived from generation to generation. And there's something, I'll get little like in the Torah and stuff, but there's a saying in Hebrew, it's Lador Vador, from generation to generation. And I think in the food world, and especially in the business world, in the consumption world, that is forgotten. No one cares about generation to generation. They just care about now. Instant gratification. I want now. I don't think about what my kids' or grandkids' life is going to be like, what supply chain for them is going to look like, what the quality of food is going to look like. And I think it comes down, like, I take that responsibility. I look at food that way. I look at what I do that way.
I'd be remiss if I wouldn't ask you about that season 1 on MasterChef, leading up to it and getting the spot and then the actual experience. What was that all like for you?
Yeah, Moshe, that was nuts. When I think about it all just sort of worked out. So I was a VP in finance. I loved food. Wanted to do something in food. Decided to go to Israel for 6 months and Italy for 6 months with my at the time, we were married. We just got married. And I was pretty burnt out in the finance space. And I decided, like, okay, let's do this. My wife had my back. She was like, let's do it. Told our parents. They wanted to kill us. Like, what are you doing? And
got to make money for the family, right?
Got to make money, exactly, man. And I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we were supposed to take off, we're pregnant. So we're having a baby. We're like, oh, okay. So much for
Sounds like
that.
my story. I know.
Oh,
I know.
really? Yeah. So much for that. Came
Yeah.
back, went back to finance. I quit my job about 5 days after my son was born. He's 15 now. And then, interestingly enough, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, never wanted to do television. Very, very like, it's like not for me. And I had a friend who was a producer, and she was like, "Hey man, Masterchef, come check it out. It's a new show. It's, really popular in the UK." I was like, no, I'm good. And my wife was like, "Why not? What do you have to lose?" And the auditions were like 5 minutes away from my house. She's like, "Just go." So I was like, "Okay, fine." I auditioned. Next thing I know, I'm on the show. And it was an incredible experience. Wild. I had a newborn baby, but it felt right. And like I said earlier, you've got to be a little bit crazy to get into something. You got to be passionate about it. And I was, and I'm like, I'm going to find a way to succeed and do something that I love and passionate about in this world. And so I got off the season and put my head down and worked in restaurants, kind of learned, and then decided to start my own food company.
How was, they have all different feedback about working with Gordon Ramsay. How was that experience for you?
It was great. He's great. Very different personality on television than he is in person, but it was great. I mean, it's been a while. I have not seen or spoken to him in years, but it was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Tell us, because I always have this debate between food and then supplements. And I know you have a supplement brand, Sunny Within. Yeah. What's, when it comes to, you talk about whole foods and then supplements, what's more important, or what's, where do supplements really come in? And tell us a little bit about your brand.
Great question. So I'll start with food. So my company, Chef Hacks, and or whatever food it is that you eat, right? It starts with what you eat every day, right? The nutrients, the daily practice, the daily routine of making good, healthy choices for yourself, eating whole foods, right? I think if you do that and you can exercise, 3-4 times a week, you're 95% there. You really are. Just ask yourself the question is, like, before you put something in your mouth, is this good for me? And if the answer is yes, put it in your mouth. If the answer is no, have the discipline, right? And then supplementation is something that I take, I've been taking forever, right? Like protein, additional protein, things that you can't get, a good amount of, or is difficult to, get with a lot of the foods, right? And I'm really I work out a lot. I try to take care of myself as best as I know how to do, right? And I found myself, my brother and I co-founded Sunny Within, and we found ourselves having a conversation around like the fact that we both into health and wellness. And randomly, when I opened up my pantry to look at all my supplements one day, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that could happen too. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Oh my God. And then I'm finding myself having to take this regiment of 20 to 30 different pills and capsules every single day. And I told myself, wait a second, I'm trying to live a healthy lifestyle and do all these things so I don't have to take all these, I don't have to take 20 to 30 pills in my life. Different types of pills, right? But nonetheless, it's still a schlep. It's like, it's not fun. It's not an enjoyable experience. So we're like, there's got to be a better way to supplement. There's got to be a more enjoyable way to supplement, a more convenient way, more effective way. And so we started doing some homework around just those questions and asking ourselves, like, what can we do? What is out there? What's available to bring to life products or a product that can answer those questions and do that? And so Sunny Within was born. We founded the company last year. They are liposomal squeezy pack supplements, and you just basically rip the top off and just squeeze the goo in your mouth. They're delicious. I worked on the flavors. They're Beautiful. Liposomal, which means they're encapsulated in a fat, and we use organic avocado oil as the fat, which is a great fat for you. And by doing that, it's about 5 times more absorbable into your body. It's more bioavailable. Your body absorbs it. Believe it or not, when you take a capsule, by the time it's done going through your digestive tract, there are good things that come, that are there, but your stomach and your body and your enzymes already digest and break down a lot of it as well. So it's more absorbable, it's more bioavailable, it's delicious, it's convenient, and it's fun. It's fun taking one squeezy pack rather than taking 12 different pills, and that's where it was born.
It makes a lot of sense. Just thinking about efficiency of time. So let's say I'm a family, and just in your instance, what's your go-to meal? You don't have much time, but you want your kids and your family to eat healthy. What would you do?
Yeah. One of my favorite go-tos that, I know my kids love, and it's just great. And it's something I also grew up with, is I make a big Greek salad with just a good amount of, feta cheese and like a nice sheep's milk feta. I use just a really nice extra virgin olive oil. It's so simple, right? Some cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers, some herbs, whatever veggies you have, you chop it all up. Some really nice extra virgin olive oil, some lemon zest, lemon juice, sea salt, and some pepper. And then you throw a block of feta. And then I generally just pair that with the protein, whether that's whatever I buy, whatever I have in the fridge, if it's chicken or some fish or salmon or whatever the case may be. And it's like an easy go-to. Another thing that if we want some extra carbs that's just easy to do is some sweet potatoes. Make sweet potato fries. They're so good for you. It's such a good complex carbohydrate, believe it or not. Satisfies the sweet craving that you have, gives you a lot of good complex carbs, and it's really easy to do. And if you want it even sweeter, throw a little bit of maple syrup on top of it. That's a great sugar, right? Versus some of the other things.
Yeah, I notice also that in certain communities, tougher communities, they don't even know. Like I remember I was at a gas station, and I know this sounds crazy, but they were taking like a grape drink and a bag of chips, and my wife's like, why don't you just get a bottle of water instead and have this banana or this orange, and they don't even know. Like there's literally millions of people in America that don't even know about fruits and vegetables, which was crazy, which is nuts.
I know.
Right? I mean, that was why, in our main business is real estate. In our real estate communities, there's a lot of grass area. So instead, we have something called Neighborhood Farms USA. So we have raised gardens, and we educate the people in the community to be their own farmers, and they can eat what they grow.
Education is critical for everything, right? Ignorance is bliss in many ways, right? We've heard that. And so it starts with education. I blame our system. When you go to school and you look at, how hard, one of my biggest goals was trying to get into education with food, right? To get in our school districts and make a change. Brother, it is such a bureaucracy. It is such like a Fort Knox of trying to get in there. It's crazy. And I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm looking at it like the food scene in public schools has not changed since I've been in public school. Yeah. It's nuts. Chocolate milk with like some bag of something, you know what I mean?
It's like in jail or something, right? It's like terrible.
I feel like you eat better in jail than they feed our kids. Like I kid you not. It makes zero sense to me, and it's so frustrating. And I think that's speaks volumes to what your point is. Is like, we're not educating our kids, and our kids are growing up, luckily my kids have me, and I'm educating them. I'm helping them be aware of it. But like, also think about this, right? Like how is an apple, right? How is going to the grocery store and buying an apple more expensive than buying a bag of
Always
chips?
Think about it. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. You're lucky. I spent a little time in California, so you have a lot more farms, farm to table, local farms. We don't have so much of that here. It is a major city in Miami, but throughout Florida, we don't have a ton of fruits and vegetables that are grown here. You have a lot more in California, but it's much more expensive than processed foods. But I want to ask you a couple of quick, call them rapid fire questions. So, spicy or not?
Spicy.
What's one food you refuse to eat?
Stinky tofu.
I love that. Pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
And yes,
I love that. Huge mess when you cook, or you clean as you go?
huge mess.
I know my wife wouldn't be happy about that. So, so your wife's the cleaning. Your wife's cleaning up for you.
Yeah. If there's a caveat, if I'm rapid fire cooking, it's a huge mess. If I'm relaxed and I have time and I've got I make a day of it, and that's what I just want to do for the day, then it's easy. I do my prep, everything's organized, everything's set up, but that rarely happens these days.
So Sharone, tell me something that you're grateful for.
I'm grateful. I have this saying on my Instagram. I'm grateful for all of it, the good, the bad, the experience, just being able to just ride this thing that we call life. Grateful for all of it. I wouldn't be who I am today without falling, and I wouldn't appreciate the wins without the losses. So I'm really grateful for all of it, and I'm in a place in my life of really trying to enjoy every single part of it, enjoy every single part of it, and every moment that I get, because it's all a gift.
Yeah, live with intention. Yeah, it's the only way. What's the common denominator, would you say, of people that are every day choosing to live happy, healthy lives?
Making tough choices. Making tough choices. You got to, choose your heart. It's hard to, it's hard to be unhealthy. It's hard to stay healthy. You choose your heart, and that's the common denominator.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Sharone, and hopefully people that are listening will think and pause and be more intentional what they put in their body. Like you had said, you are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. It's the truth. Yeah. How can people get in touch? How can they find you on social?
Yeah, just find my name, Sharone Hakman. It's spelled Sharon with an E at the end. HAKMAN. You find me on Instagram. Trying to be a little more active there. But that's just send me a note if you've got questions, recipe ideas, and then of course you can follow any of the brands that I'm behind, and that's Chef Hacks or Sunny Within, and see if there's a store near you, or find us online and so on. So yeah, man, it's I appreciate you asking me that question, and I appreciate you having me on this show. It's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much, and good luck, much success, health and happiness, and everything with your family, and blessings. Thanks you.
To you as
Thanks,
well.
Sharone. Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Sharone. If you haven't already, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribing ensures you never miss an episode, and it helps us continue to bring you meaningful conversations that make a difference. Thank you for being part of our growing community. We couldn't do this without you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon.